Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that I think a lot of people are thinking about right now if you're in school or college, or you are going to med school, or you're in med school, or whatever you're doing right now. I think that a lot of us are questioning if school is going to be online next year. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Brooke. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to med school in the fall and I'm super excited about it. But since this whole thing has happened with coronavirus, it's definitely been a little bit worrying to know exactly how school is going to happen. If any of you are starting school next year, like I am, and you're going to a new place where you don't know anyone and you're also starting virtual, it's definitely something that's scary. So I just want to get into it, just share my thoughts and what I think is going to happen, how I think it's going to go, and yeah. So just to start, I think some schools have made decisions. So I know that Harvard Medical School is going to be online, and I know some colleges, like four-year regular universities, have made some decisions on that, and I think that some schools are trying to stay in person as much as possible. I know the University of Georgia says that they're planning to be in person next semester. However, I think most schools still don't really know what they want to do. It's a little bit worrying, I think, for a lot of us, because if you are starting school, even if you're going back to school, you probably have to start thinking about where you're going to live, who you're going to live with, like are you going to find roommates, and what your plans are. And I think a lot of us are in this like weird state where we just like don't know what's going on, and so it's really scary. For me at least, I know that most of the curriculum at the school that I'm attending will be online. I know that lectures are not going to take place in person. Those will just be online, which I think will probably be fine because I think like most people just watch them online anyway. But I know that they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do with other types of courses, and they haven't really decided if students are gonna move onto campus or exactly what's gonna happen with that. So it's definitely weird because I feel like I don't know if I'm moving in August or if I'm staying where I'm living now. It's just like a really weird feeling. I do want to say that I'm not just coming on here to sit here and complain. Like, I realize that there are much more difficult things going on in the world, and I think that schools are making the right decision when they do this, because I think that we should be protecting our health first and foremost. But I do just want to come on here and share how I feel, since maybe some of you are also going through the same thing right now. Okay, so the first thing that I want to start with is meeting students and faculty and advisors and how that's going to work since we're all going to be virtual. I feel like you definitely can meet people, and I think they'll be able to program things, but you're not going to be able to form the same relationships with students online. At least that's just how I feel about it. Like, maybe it won't be that bad. And I think also like you just can't get as good of a read from people as you can when you're sitting with them in person. And I don't know, I think it'll be really difficult to form friends and to have people that are going through that experience with you, that you can study with, that you can call up and ask questions. I think that that's definitely going to be something that's hard. And then even with faculty and advisors, it's kind of similar. Like, you're not forming the same level of a relationship when you're talking through a screen. So I think that's going to be something that's really difficult. I think a lot of us we're much more like in-person kind of people. Like, it's not, I know like we're all connected through social media and like online these days anyway, but I think it's definitely going to be very, very different to actually meet our classmates online and to not really like, I don't know if we're really even gonna like meet with people individually. Like, you're not gonna have that moment when you're like sitting and you're waiting for something in like a big lecture and you just start talking to the person next to you. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be awkward or if people are just gonna like start conversations or how it's gonna work, but I think that it's not gonna be the same. I think it might be a good idea to have like some sort of a buddy system, or maybe do some sort of like small group orientation meetings. Like, maybe if they scheduled it such that you have like an orientation group that you go in with, and you have one older student who is giving you advice, and then you have a few other students you can reach out to and talk to. That would be really useful. I know for college, that was what we did, and that was a way that we had people we knew when we were going into our classes, and we also had someone that was older than us that we could reach out to for advice. Okay, so the next thing that I'm a little bit worried about is that it's going to be very difficult and probably impossible to have patient experiences early on during medical school. So I don't think this is true for all medical schools. Well, I know it's not true, but at my school, we do have patient experience very early on, and that was something that I really liked about the school and why it was my top choice. So I am definitely worried about that because that was a big thing for me and something I really wanted to have early on. Obviously, this is okay. It's not that big of a deal because it is such a big safety concern. But obviously, it would be something that would be great to have in the first semester of medical school. Of course, though, I will have so many other chances throughout my life to have patient exposure. So it's not like the end of the world or anything like that, but it is definitely something that I am losing due to this situation. I think another thing is that I think it will be difficult to learn material online. So I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this. I don't think it's necessarily that much more challenging to absorb and learn through an online lecture. Like, I don't think it's one of those things where being in person will make a huge difference versus just being on Zoom and listening to whoever, like the group leader or the professor, speak. But I think just going back to what I was saying before, I think that when you have the in-person option, it's much easier to ask questions and speak to the professor after the class. I don't know, I'm assuming that's med school works like the same way college did, and that I would do that all the time. Or I would meet people in my class, and like the person next to me I would start talking to, and then we would study together and we would become friends. And so I think that's something that's going to be more difficult because you don't have the access of others around you, and I think this is kind of leading me to like another point entirely, but it's a little bit more isolating. Like, I think that when you are studying something so intensely like you will be in medical school and you don't have everyone around you doing the same thing, it's a little bit weird. I don't think that it's necessarily going to be super isolating in terms of the idea that I won't have like anyone around me supporting me during that time. I just think that it's going to be hard because I won't have people near me that are going through the same situation. I think this more applies if I'm living in an apartment by myself, which is what I will do if I don't end up moving to the campus where my medical school is. You know, I think it's hard if you are working so hard and you're focusing so much on something, and then you are with your family or you're with your friends or whoever is helping you get through that time, but they don't get it. Like, they're not going through it at the same time, and they might be super, super supportive, but it's not the same as having other people who are new to med school. They're also struggling with it, and you can all help each other out, and you're all kind of like in the same boat. So I think that might be difficult and just like something that I'll have to work through that semester. I think this is just something also that's like unprecedented. It's not something that we've really ever gone through before. Now, of course, there's so many online classes out there, and it's very easy to speak to people who are also in online programs. But I think for medical school, it's something that's so unique, and I think it relies so much on in-person experiences and interactions that I think it'll be hard for us to speak with others who have also been through the same thing. Sorry, the dogs are barking. I hope you don't hear that. But I think that it's going to be something that is difficult because we don't have people to look up to who started medical school while they were virtual. Like, it's just not the same type of experience as picking up your life, moving to campus, and doing everything as it's been done for years before. You know what I mean? I think on the bright side though, there are so many people out there, especially on YouTube and on social media, who are talking about being online for med school during this time that we've had for the past few months where we've all been in quarantine. So there are people that are talking about it, but I think it is definitely different to start school. And I definitely get it that people that are starting college or some other type of professional or grad school are gonna be going through a very similar type of thing where you feel like you don't really know what you're doing and you're kind of lost. But I think that it's something where everybody kind of knows the situation that we're in, so we'll be able to get through together and it will be fine. And then, like, I know it's gonna be fine. I think it's just gonna be a transition, and it's definitely not what we expected. You know, I think some schools are also gonna be completely remote, and then some schools are gonna have students move either near campus or live on campus depending on the school itself. So, you know, I think there is a lot of uncertainty around that, but ultimately we'll all get through this together, so it'll be fine. I think that one concern that I have is where I'm going to live next year, and I think that it is a general concern for people that don't know if their schools can be completely remote or whether they should look for an apartment or roommates, or, you know, exactly what they should do. And it is something that is going to be a huge change if you do have to move. So I am just kind of just trying to go with the flow and just accept that I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It is worrying just because this is something that's happening so soon. Like, it's May, it's almost late May at this point, and we have to move onto campus like late July, early August. I guess it depends on your school, but it's just something that I feel is definitely going to be challenging with all this uncertainty and not knowing exactly how to navigate it. I think a few things that medical schools and different programs can do is maybe one, have some sort of a buddy program, kind of in addition to what I talked about before with having some sort of orientation group. I think it would also be useful to have a buddy that is either a student in your year or a student in the year above you that can give you advice and kind of walk you through the process as you get settled into medical school. I think another thing would be to have some online social events. I think that would be really great in terms of meeting people. And then I think just in addition to that, making sure that students are properly introduced to faculty and they feel comfortable going to those faculty members, that there are easy ways to contact those faculty members and they can easily get in touch with their advisors. So I think just making it as convenient as possible for incoming students is a really good idea. And then I think another thing that would be really great to do is to have training for those patient experiences. Even if we might not necessarily be able to have patient experiences early, hopefully we can get more online training, or I guess just a little bit more, even just more discussion on this topic, I think would be really useful. You know, I think on the bright side, if we're able to stay at home, it will allow us to not leave our comfort zones entirely. Like, it's not as much of a huge jump to completely move to a different school, and we still get to keep at least like our home base while we're starting something that's so new. And I think also just the fact that everyone is going through this, so we will all be able to get through together, and there will probably be so many resources that schools will provide us with in order to help us succeed. So yeah, if anybody else is going through the same thing, I'd really love to know your thoughts on it. I know that it's a very challenging time, but of course this isn't the worst thing in the world, and we're all gonna get through this together. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe, like this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.